Buenos dias, Gunnerz Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucker smack addict. Bye up, bye up. In a menudo style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun is kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. Thank you. I'm very humbled. So I wanted to address this situation. You know, for those, I got a lot of new subscribers, and I know I've told stories in the past, kind of alluded to some things, and not everybody knows my standings in prison. Well, I'm going to tell you where my standings are, what my standings were, what my standings could be, what my standings ain't, and where I stand. Where I stand is on the streets. Where I stand is being a father. Where I stand is being a righteous person in the community that deserves and believes that people deserve the right to choice, to do whatever they want, right? To get in that bag, to being humble, to helping individuals, to being about their people first and foremost. And I'm about the raza. I'm about my people. It doesn't matter if you're north or south or east or west. I'm going to rock with you, right? Until you disrespect me or until I can't trust you no more, then I'm going to go ahead and back up like a crawdad, because based upon my interaction with you, and I could see that we ain't thinking or on the same page, I'm going to go ahead and do it pushing. So there's a lot of shit that goes around on YouTube every day. Social media platform where you can say whatever you want to say about anybody you want to say and disrespect them and not disrespect them and build someone's character or tear someone's character down. And everybody, I mean, everybody always has something to say. Everyone has an opinion. Okay? Well, there's a lot that goes around about me every single day. Maybe some of it true, maybe a lot of it not true. But at the end of the day, as an individual, I have to deal with that. I have to look at the mirror. I have to realize that the choices I've made in life up until this point are the reasons of where I'm at this point. Did I lock it up? Is a question someone asked me the other day. I get asked that all the time. Did you lock it up? Well, I ain't never locked myself up. I ain't never slapped the cuffs on my motherfucking wrist and put myself in that situation. Now, I have put myself in situations to get cuffs slapped on my wrist, but have I ever locked it up? Now, I know what they mean, and I'm just joking. Have you ever locked it up means, am I a PC case? Did I go protective custody? Did I ask the officers, hey man, I'm scared, I can't be here on the yard? Did I ever do that? The answer is simple. The reasoning behind it is simple. The answer is no. I didn't never lock it up. I didn't never ask for guidance or assistance. I didn't never jump in the back of that cop car and say, I can't be here, man, because they're going to hurt me. I didn't never go to any officer on any yard and say, hey, I can't be here because they want to do bad things to me. Never walked in the program office, never faked a heart attack, never got removed, never none of that. Was I going to get removed? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me explain the situation for those that have never, ever heard the story. I got a lot of new subscribers, so why not? Have I ever locked it up? Now, there's a lot of individuals that lock it up. And what locking it up means is going to the officers or refusing to go out of your cell or doing a PC move, a protective custody move. Now, I've seen it done in every form or fashion. I've seen dudes get off right in front of the cops because they knew it would get broken up very quick. And then that would be that, right? I've seen people go all the way out. They're like, I can't be on this yard anymore, so I'm going to take a body with me. Do you consider that locking it up? Some do. They consider any move outside of the politics, outside of just being on that yard maintaining, dropping out or PCing up. Now, to me, that's not PCing up. If you owe someone money and you know you can't pay them and you know they're going to do something bad to you, see, if they stab you, if they do something bad to you, hey, that's just part of the game, right? But if you get off and you stab them, well, that was a PC move. See, there's two sides to the coin, and one's blemished and the other one's clean, I guess. It's to whatever your ways of thinking are. But in real life, as a man, this is what it is. There's only one of you. Okay? You could have all the camaradas, all the homeboys, all the backing of the south side or the north side or the bulldogs or whatever, and you could be in good standings, but at the end of the day, it's all on you. Okay? Just like the money, it's all on a bitch. It's all on you. And you're going to make the decision of what you're going to do on that yard. Sometimes it's out of your hands. You no longer are able to make that decision. Others will try to make it for you. And if you feel that they're making the wrong decision, you have the right as a man to speak up, to voice your opinion, to say, hey, homie, this is my life. You're trying to put a knife in my hand to do something Let's do it together. I've asked those questions before. I find myself in bad standings because of asking too many questions. I guess when you realize the game is not for you, but you are for the game, that's when you finally realize and open your eyes and say, hey, maybe the game ain't for me. Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe, just maybe, I don't see nothing beneficial to me. Let me explain my story for those that don't know. So, as a Norteño, I was taught certain things. I was educated into the plight of the Norteños, what we were actually fighting for. Not to fight Southsiders, not to fight Bulldogs, not to fight Crips or Bloods. That wasn't what it was all about. It was all about social status of equality. It was all about going onto that yard, even if there was 3 or 4 of us, and having a bench to sit down on, having weights to lift, having a fucking track to walk, and being treated equal. Now, we understood, and believe me, I've been in plenty of those situations where I had to try to establish a yard or go to a yard that was barely established. And when you're living in the Norteño movement, you have to be of an understanding and know that the numbers are not going to favor you. You're never going to be the deepest on the yard. It's a rare occasion when you're the deepest on the yard. And those are probably some of the funnest and best times as a Norteño because you're not really asked to do much. But just like any other group, once you start to get deep, there starts to be internal confrontation amongst your own, right? Now, all of a sudden, instead of just kicking it on the yard and having it your way and saying, hey, man, we're deep and you best believe this. The brothers are strong, but the NA's the deepest, right? Instead of being able to do all that, now we start eating each other, cannibalizing each other, politicking on each other. Now, all of a sudden, instead of coming out to the yard and maintaining and holding on to that yard because we know the enemies don't have the numbers like they did, now it becomes a situation where we still want drama. We still want something. We still want to show what we're about. So we start to eat each other up. You know, homeboys all of a sudden that were in good standings in other prisons now all of a sudden are in bad standings in this one. For whatever reason. I've seen it. I've participated in it. I've done it. I could tell you exactly what it is. But let me tell you my story about if I locked it up or not. For those that are out there pushing that propaganda on me, it's time that I let you know, right? For all the new gente. So I pull up to Susanville Prison, Lassen Yard. It's a 3-yard. The yard had just flipped, right? And when I got to that yard, you got to understand, I came from Tracy Prison and I had been to prison several times in different states already. So I wasn't a new booty. I wasn't a fish. This wasn't my first term. I didn't drop out on my first term or fall off. This was actually a 3rd term for me, right? So I get to, or actually a 4th, excuse me. So I get to the prison and I'm kind of skeptical on the get down because anytime you're trying to establish a yard, especially as a Norteño, there's going to be a lot of rules that are implemented. It's going to be a little bit different from everywhere else. And it all depends on the people that are there, the people that are in position, the people that are, you know, involved in the household politics, the people that are within the COC, the chain of command. Every little thing makes a difference. So being the status that I had and having an understanding and seasoned, been to prison, youth authority, all that, been around some heavy hitters in my life, I kind of knew I was going to fall within the COC, guaranteed. I was at least going to have a building, or if not have a building, I was going to participate in the shenanigans to the highest degree because I dedicated myself to the politics. That's what I was about. I believed in equality for all Norteños. I believed in Norteños above and everyone else. Everyone else could get it. All I cared about was victory for my people, my gente, which was the Northern Raza. And nothing else mattered. Was I respectful towards all other groups? Absolutely. That's part of being a man. But at the end of the day, I was under the assumption that if you weren't my people, you weren't doing something positive for my people or putting them in a position to make some good moves, then you were against us. If you weren't with us, you were against us. And all Norteños believe the same thing, right? Hey, we're together. If not, you're on the outside looking in, homie, and you don't want to see what's inside here. Facts. So as I got to that prison, we had to establish. And certain people got to put in certain positions. The cool part is the guy who put us in all these positions, who actually was lacing us up, was actually a degenerate dropout in the hole on walk-alone status that we thought was a big homie. We thought was somebody in the game. Did have a good solid name in the game, only he was no longer in good standings, but we weren't knowing this. So of course, we're taking our dictation, we're taking our program set up from a guy who was in bad standings, who was manipulating and basically telling the cops who was in position, who was doing this, who was doing. He was feeding them all the information. So we're here like some dummies trying to establish a yard for the Northern cause, which we did. And at the same time, the guy that was basically telling us to establish it, who was lacing us up, at the same time was playing both sides. He was feeding all this information to the cops. So I didn't know that at this time, but I'll tell you how it ends up. So I end up getting on the yard, going to the block, and we all get cleared. We're already cleared from the oil, but we go through the clearance process again amongst each other just to make sure we have some good righteous soldados on the tira. And everything's good in the hood. I'm cleared. So for all those fucking poop butts, Gunnerz this, Gunnerz Leva, Gunnerz this, I would have never been cleared in prison, believe me. Okay, so now I'm cleared for the 4th time. And I'm in there chilling, and I get a cellie. And the first cellie I get, he's a striving structure member. I can't stand him. His name was Beast from Sakura. He ended up falling off or getting whacked, removed. I just couldn't stand him, man. He was the worst cellie you could ever have. He was a piece of shit. He was the type, man, that played that role, acted gangster, but didn't have proper cellie etiquette. Didn't share with his cellies. Didn't clean up after himself. Just was a bully and a bullshitter, right? Couldn't stand being set up with him, but I wasn't going to take none of his bullshit. I let him know that. Eventually, over time, man, we weren't seeing eye to eye within the cell, but I knew I couldn't do red on red. I know I couldn't whack him or get off on him. He knew the same thing. He couldn't do that with me. So we did the thing amicable. We separated. He asked to be settled with one of his homeboys from his hood. I took whatever cellie they gave me because I wasn't tripping, man. Anything but that, also, right? So they gave me a homeboy from Mountain View. Good, solid little homie. He's a youngster. He's doing like 9 years. And he comes into the cell. It's all love, man. Bam. I'm sharing with him. He's sharing with me. This guy, just on a first term basis, knows what time it is. So we're doing our thing. So at this time, because the Northerners were new to the yard, they had a thing called, what was it called? Mac reps. Okay, it was called Mac reps. And so what Mac reps are is you get 2 representatives from each car, from the non-affiliates, from the Muslims, from the Crips, the Bloods, the Kumis, the North, the South. That's the Skins, the Woods. That's who was on that yard, them groups. And each group has a couple, 1 or 2 Mac reps, and they have meetings, to kind of figure out what's going on the yard and whatever. Now, as far as the Norteños, our movement was very clandestine at that time. It's not as popularized as it is now because of the mainstream social media. But at that time, the Norteños try to keep everything under the hat. And so we decided amongst the collective that we were not going to have Mac reps or conform to Mac reps because at that particular time, we felt that was targeting the homeboys that we would make Mac reps. It would show that they had leadership qualities and that they were in a leadership position. And if the placas wanted to fucking come and snatch anyone up, those would be the first homeboys. And at no time will any Norteño put any Norteño in jeopardy, especially of his safety status and social status. So we couldn't do that. So we decided not to have Mac reps. Well, the cops decided to lock us all down. Everybody else had Mac reps. Everybody else was conforming to it for whatever their reasons were. Didn't mean they were functioning different than us. We just were a little too hard on our people at that time. And so we weren't going to do it. So we were on lockdown. So that means everyone else could go to chow. Everyone else could go to yard. Everyone else could go to day room program. Norteños couldn't. We had to stay locked up in our cells. Of course, we had northern cells. What they did in this prison was they would have a card with your picture on it. It would tell you exactly where you're from. Northerner. Or if you were Southerner, it'd have your picture Southerner, whites, blacks, Crips, Bloods, non-affiliated. That's how it was. So that way when the cop came to your cell door, he knows exactly who you are in that cell. He knows your CDC number. He knows exactly where you're from and what you're about. And so they know that's a northern cell. That's a southern cell. Now, the way it is, they're not going to have all northerners in one section. And it's not like that. You're on a fucking general population yard. My next door neighbors were southerners. On the other side were northerners. On the other side of that was a couple skinheads. That's just the way it was, right? So we were on lockdown. So the hardship we impressed upon our people just kept going. I was not tripping. I'm used to hardship. I've been doing it since I was young. Shit, I went to LA to YA, so anyone that knows hardship is going to be me. So it was just another spoke in the Dayton of the Norteño movement, and we're going to keep on rolling, right? And we're on Vogues like a motherfucker. We're working out. We're chopping it up with our neighbors. I'm cool with the Southside neighbors, me and my cellie at the time. He's a youngster. I'm lacing him up, giving him education, trying to pull him. Actually seeing if he had the mindset and the right mentality to be pulled into something that was bigger and better than himself. At that time, that's what I thought. And everything was going good, and we get released to the yard. We get released to the yard, man. After a while, they say, okay, you guys are not going to have Mac reps. The cops break it down. Homeboys are writing 602s. Homeboys are writing grievances. That's what a 602 is. And we're saying, hey, this is not cool. This is not right. You can't have us on lockdown for nothing, have everyone else, whatever. We don't have to have MAC reps if we don't want. That's a voluntary thing anyways. We win, we get out of the wheel. I start noticing on the other blocks, because now we have interaction. I mean, we're shooting wheelas and facilitating convo through wheelas. We had the Crips, man. They were actually facilitating messages for us. Some good, shout out to Tulare Crips, man. There was a Crip out of Tulare. He was a real one. But no interaction face to face. Now we're on the yard together. Now we're going through clearance processes with people where, you know, more homeboys are rolling up. We're giving them the rundown. Now, mind you, this is still new to us. We were only on the yard like a month before they put us on lockdown. So we're still trying to establish, seeing how the Southsider is going to react to what we got going on. But we have our own area. Everything's good. There's the brothers right there, the Usos. Shout out to the Soles, right? The brothers, the Usos, and the Northerners. We're functioning. About a month or two later, I start to realize I got a homeboy from my town. He's on a different block. He always comes out. Me and him start to chop it up, and I realize that, you know, there's some shit going on. Now, at the time, he's just a Northerner, so he's not privy to a lot of the shit I was privy to, right? So I start to realize that I'm seeing Norteños from this certain block high. They're getting high. They're indulging in hard drug use, which at that time for the Norteño collective was not allowed, right? So I'm watching from a distance, and I'm letting those ears know that I feel I could trust, which I shouldn't have trusted anyone, not even my own homie, right? Because people talk, and it's all about feria in prison. It's all about power, numbers, and money. And if you're bringing money, motherfuckers will overlook the bullshit that you're doing. It's funny because these same people that impress upon me about the politics and you weren't cut out for it and you didn't know it and all this and that, the politics were being violated. The rules were being violated, and I merely spoke up on behalf of the gente and on behalf of the cause. You know, I guess I'm a piece of shit for that, right? For rocking the boat and going against the grain. I should have just got high with the rest of them, huh? And enjoyed myself and looked like a baboso and get stabbed by a Southsider when they see I'm too high to function. Anyways, I start to question it. I question whoever I need to question, and I realize, all right, I'm going to strike this shit up. Now, striking it up means I was going to write to the back this guy who I thought was high powered and was really functioning and let him know, hey, bro, this is what's happening out here. I don't like it. You know, this ain't what's supposed to be happening. Let me go ahead and strip this dude butt naked and take everything he got. It's like, let me go ahead and get this shit. Let me get this ship sailing right. But of course, with that, you need numbers. You know, these guys are already getting high. They already got their little squad. They're already partying. Like, I'm going to need some hitters with me, man, to go. I can't just push up on a dude on the bolo. They're going to find ways to get rid of me, right? Again, that's just the way the game works. There's a lot of disloyalty in that, right? I'm not saying all Norteños are like that, but this individual was. So I strike it up. Of course, the guy I'm striking it up to in the back, he's playing the fucking shenanigans too. He's getting clavo in the back. They're plugging him in. They got him in pocket. Shit, he's like, oh, we got to get rid of this dude. So he writes a fucking big-ass wheel on me, you know, talking about I'm smutting people up. I'm slandering their character. Boom. Doesn't put me on freeze. Doesn't question me. Got to get rid of this dude. Basically, get me out of the way. Okay, so what do? I don't know this at this point. A homeboy rolls up that I was with in Tracy of equal status. So I'm thinking I got an ally. I got a fucking camarada. I got a homeboy that'll rock with me. We were cellies. This was my boy. It's from Sacra, right? So I get at him. He happens to be on their block. The guys that are selling the dope and getting high and all that. And I tell him, hey, bro, it's an ugly block you're on, bro. My block is cool, man. The homies are good, but you know what I'm saying? They still cool with them dudes. Like, it's just all mixed up, bro. Let's fucking push up. He's like, yeah. Let me see how the block is. Let me get at who I need to get at, and I'll figure it out. Well, of course, he goes to get at them, and they put a big-ass clavo in his pocket, and he likes to get high. He's trying to get Weller to Wellers, right? So he's getting Weller. So now, fuck what I'm talking about. Fuck the cause. Fuck all the righteousness and the politics. Homie, I'm doing heroin. That's what he's on at that point, right? So now I'm like a man on a sinking ship by myself. I could have just turned the other cheek, still been solid, still been active, right? A violator of the politics. But I guess, you know, no one cared at that point. But anyways, I decide, nah, enough is enough. If I'm going to have to do something, I'm going to do something on the bolo. But I'm going to bid my time. Little did I know, this guy in the back had already told these guys about the wheeler, and now he shot a wheeler. So now it's getting to the point where I got to go. I didn't know this yet. So now me and my celly are chilling one day. That same crip, man, that facilitated messages for me, he slides a wheeler under the door for my celly that says, for your eyes only. Well, let me tell you something about being locked up on a general population yard with your celly. Everything must be screened at the door. There's not going to be a wheeler coming in or going out that I don't look at, that he doesn't look at, that came from my hand. If he gets mail, I'm going to screen it. If I get mail, he's going to screen it. It's the buddy system. If the cops pull me out of the cell, I ain't going nowhere without them pulling him out of the cell. Do you understand where I'm coming from? That's just the proper procedures of a general population yard when you're an active gang member. You're going to need motherfucking eyes to verify that you ain't telling, right? So that's how I was. So he gets this wheel out for your eyes only, Charlie. Your eyes are my eyes and my eyes are your eyes. Norte, right? So I see him reading it first. Of course, I'm going to give him the proper fucking respect to let him read his own mail first. And his eyes are getting big. I see him starting to get teared up. I'm like, oh, hell no. What you got there, homie? Now, he had two decisions. He could have took flight, got off where he was mad at right there, or passed the wheel out to me. He decided to pass the wheel out for whatever reason. I never asked him why. I never questioned why he did what he did, but he did it. As soon as I seen what it was basically a wheel out, them telling him that, hey, I'm slandering homeboys. I'm not good for the cause. I'm not fucking this. I'm not that. I didn't want to do a removal. Bullshit, right? I'll tell you about that right now, too. And so they tell him to get off on me, that he has to take me out, right? To what degree of taking out, I don't know. Take out the trash, right? That ain't going to happen. Motherfucker, I got a knife, too. So prior, about 2 weeks before that, I got a wheel on myself. And there was a vato coming from Hanford, Gunnerz, right? Kings County. And I guess he had some bad paperwork, or for whatever reason, he was on a different building. They wanted me, I guess I got the pick of the draw, I guess, right? They wanted me to remove them. Now, usually there's a squad that does that. I'm not stupid. I've been in a position to put people in a position, right, at this point. So it's not usually a one-on-one thing. They're not going to send, this ain't the movie fucking Shot Caller, right? Even he had two people. They're not going to send me in there to whack one dude by myself. Just doesn't work like that, right? We always got to have the upper hand just like anyone else. But I get a wheel out, hey, you need to go in this dude with weaponry, run up in the cell. He's not even in my block. How the fuck you expect me to do that, right? There's vatos in his block that could get to him right now, today, in the shower or whatever. But I already know what it was. They were trying to get rid of me by my own hand. So rather than do this pegada, I questioned it. Didn't deny it. All these fucking riff-raff characters on YouTube, oh, he refused a fucking removal. Bro, do you know how many removals I have under my belt? Sasuke, more than you could even spell the word removal. Let me tell you something, right? It's crazy. But I did question it. I said, why, bro? You know, why are we doing it like this? Oh, it's a different yard, bro. We're trying something different. Motherfucker, Norteños are on the same page in Branch and Union. We don't do different. We do what the cause does, right? So by me questioning it, they took it as an admission of refusing it. Never refusing, never said, Charlie, I ain't doing that. I just questioned it like, I need to see some P-dub, bro. I need to see what's really going on. Keep me in the loop. At this time, I had a little status. Keep me in the loop. What's going on? I'll fucking kill this motherfucker, but I need to know what he did bad, bro. You can't just tell me, oh, he's all bad. Motherfucker, you got to tell me why he's all bad. Who are you to tell me someone's bad, bro? You know what I mean? If I want to see the P-dub, I want to see the P-dub so I know what I'm dealing with here. Anyways, that was their whole reason. They knew what it was, so that was the whole reason to get me out of the yard. Anyways, my cellie tells me about it. I let him know, hey, I'm going to go out to the yard and handle my business. I'm not going to stab a Norteño. I'll never do that, but I'm going to take flight, bro. If these fools act stupid, I'm going to take flight. He's like, I'm with you. We go out to the yard. We rock it. We go to the hole. Of course, by then, I know my career's over for red on red, period, plain and simple. Career's done. I'm kind of in a sick situation. Probably the worst day of my life. Everything that up to that point that I fought for, that I believed in, that I loved, is done. Right? So now the gang coordinator comes to my cell. He already knows what it is. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? We're going to need some information so we can get you to a SNY. I ain't doing all that. Right? I ain't giving you nothing. I don't know nothing. I ain't got nothing to give you, right? I'm playing the role. Did I have stuff to give him? Probably. So I don't know. But I ain't going to give it. You know, motherfucker, I'm a Norteño in bad standings. I ain't a snitch, right? So I'm just kicking it. Of course, I got there's some other Northerners that are non-active. They're next door to me. They start giving me the rundown between the S and Ys and the 50-50 yards and what the differences are. So I lean towards the 50-50 yards, which just means there's still active gang members on that yard. It still goes down, right? But you're just not functioning up under the bandera of the big homies. All right, good. I'm already in a position, that's where I'm at. So I end up going to Jamestown, doing my time, getting out. So I ask you, for all you fucking punks that are talking shit, because I'm super dropout, I guess. I might even make a super dropout. Never dropped in to drop out, right? Never was part of the big organization. So that's what real righteous dropouts are, people that fall off for them organizations, whatever organization it may be. I never was part of that. So I'm just a non-active Norteño, or Norteño in bad standings, by my own hand, by what I did. Here's the cold, tricky part. 4 months later, after I got fucking moved from that yard and I'm no longer on that yard and I'm doing my thing, right? And it hurt. It hurt the heart, but it just is what it is. That same dude that was getting everyone high and everything, he gets whacked, removed off the yard, meta-flighted out of there, right? The other dude who was behind the scenes, come to find out, was a degenerate and no good the whole time. Another homeboy pulls up, a righteous big fella pulls up and pulls his cobijas. So at the end of the day, everything that happened to me, I was in the right. Now there's people, well, why didn't you try to get backs? It's not like that. Once I put my hands on another norteño, I was deemed all bad. I should have never done that, even if he was fucking up. I knew the rules, right? But they were trying to get me whacked. So I was in a position of me or them, and it was them. So for all the people that do I lock it up? Nah, I didn't lock it up, man. I went to the yard and got off. And in the midst of doing that, I was no longer in good standings. You know, it's funny that there's all these degenerate and dropouts and weirdos from dropout gangs that are on YouTube that sit here and get respect and love. And, oh, man, at least he admits it is a real one. I ain't never denied what happened with me. I've always told the truth. The fact is, because I'm more popular than a lot of these other social media content creators in the prison genre, I get the bad light. I got people from the South, people from Bulldogs, people from different groups hating on me. Oh, you fucking brought that dropout to my city. Oh, you fuck with that DO. Oh, this, and that. Bro, you don't even know what it means. That's how I know you're not a real one, because you don't even understand what the word DO means. Anyways, did I lock it up? Hell no, I didn't lock it up. Did I still believe in the North End cause? I still do. I just believe in raising my kids and being a family man just a little bit more. Does that make me bad or good? I don't know. Am I here to stop people from gang banging? Nah, do what you do. Just understand, man, it ain't everything that it's cracked up to be. I found out the hard way. After so much sacrifice, so much struggle, so much work that I put in and so much that I did, I ended up no good anyways. Only I didn't walk into a program office or drop out in the back of a cop car or fucking get removed or none of that. They were going to remove me. They were. Or maybe they weren't. I don't know. Hey, he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't fucking breathing. The gun.